Hello, it's Amy with Just a Little Ink. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. It's been quite some time since I have done a video. It's been a lot going on in my life. My father passed away the beginning of this month, and previous to that, there's just been a lot of other things that have kept me from doing a video. But I had planned on, I have a fun project I'd like to share, and it's kind of a little past when I would like to have done it. I planned on recording this before Stampin' Up's On Stage that occurred just a couple weeks ago. I had intended to attend, and the project I'm going to share was one I was doing for a swap. Because of my father's untimely passing, I did not end up getting to attend. But I still wanted to do this because it's an Easter project and it is so cute. And I'm hoping that you have these wonderful dies in your possession, because unfortunately that's something that Stampin' Up sold out of in the last number of weeks. And so I believe, the last I checked, the stamp set's still available. But the project idea is something I know you could adapt to all kinds of other scenarios. And so I'm going to go ahead and get things ready and get my camera flipped over and get right at it. And so I hope you'll stick with me, and I'll be right there. Hold on just a moment. We're going to move this over. Get my camera kind of set up here. Okay, so this adorable card, and I'll open it in just a moment, uses the Easter basket bundle, which of course you can't buy as a bundle now, but it had a photopolymer stamp set, which is easiest seen with the images here. And then it had coordinating dies, and this little basket is just adorable. I know you've seen a ton of ideas from Pinterest and other demonstrators that have shared over the last number of months. It's available, what parts of it are still available, in our January to April, or through April, mini catalog. Looks like this one. Most people look online anymore, but this is what it looks like. Let me get it out of the way here. The suite of products, and I'm using most of those suite of products. The paper here, which is a nice thick, heavier weight cardstock, and then all of the other little gems and some other things. But fun projects, that's where you'll find them. But I want to share with you this cute card. I'd come up with this idea. It was for a fun fold swap that I will be giving my fun fold ideas to friends and to my team. So if you've not seen that team, now you know. It's a fun card. Anyway, I want to share with you how I made this. So I wanted to, let me just talk through the supplies. I've kind of already cut most of it. You're going to want a half a sheet of balmy blue cardstock. You're going to want a quarter sheet of basic white for the inside. And then you're going to want a quarter sheet of Shy Shamrock, which is one of our in colors that's leaving here very soon. So if you haven't gotten Shy Shamrock, you want to nab that right away. That's a quarter, I say quarter sheet on this, it's half sheet, quarter sheet. So 4 by 5 1/4, so a little bit shorter. And then a piece of the Easter Joy Designer Series paper. And again, I told you it's a really thick cardstock. You could make boxes out of this, which I think was Stampin' Up's intention, but I loved the plaid print. And what I had done to kind of make it where it would lay a little flatter is I tried to kind of maneuver the paper a little bit so that it would lay. And so I cut this just about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, smaller than that Shy Shamrock cardstock layer. So those are those pieces. And then, because I wanted a mechanism that basket could sit inside the card and pop, I needed a piece, and this one is 1 7/8 tall, and it is 6 1/2 inches wide. And then I've scored it with my scoring tool along the length side. So in this 1 7/8 inch section at a 1/2 inch in, so it's cut in here at a 1/2 inch, and then I have scored it at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 3 inches, 3.5 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches. And it's kind of hard to see when you trim all those parts down. I will do one, I'll show you, but I made kind of a template, and I'll take a picture of this and I'll have it posted on my blog, justalittleinc.com. Again, that's another area. Got my piece in here, all my information. It's been so long since I've done a video. You can find that at justalittleinc.com. You can order anytime from this link here. That's my Stampin' Up website. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to kind of put this sitting in just right here, and I'm going to take the piece I haven't trimmed yet and grab out my paper snips, any sharp scissors, because we don't sell paper snips currently. I'm going to trim off this lower little corner. That's what these dark edges here on my illustration and sample are. And then I'm going to come in and trim. And this is, I didn't tell you that, this is Country Woods. I'm gathering that's another one. I know it was on low inventory. Wouldn't shock me if it's on its way out. But it's been a wonderful kind of neutral wood designer series paper, so I'm going to miss it if it is truly leaving us. The other side of the one I'm using happens to be that beautiful teal. And so that way you kind of get all the pieces I need to make my box, because you're basically making a box that goes into here. So I'm going to throw those pieces off. I've already cut one. And so you're going to fold in the center sections are going to come in more as a valley, and the opposite sides are more of a mountain. And then this piece folds out here. Your bottom sections actually are going to flap out. I'm not sure how well you can kind of see that. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these two pieces together. And so I'm going to grab my multi-purpose liquid glue, often referred to by me as green tip glue. And I don't want a ton of glue, but I found that that actually worked the best for me in securing my little box together. Tear and tape you can use, but I find that tear and tape often is you have to be really, really exacting because it's not very forgiving. Multi-purpose liquid glue gives you a little wiggle, and I kind of like that about it. So you're going to end up so that you have kind of a box shape, and you kind of see how that worked. I just put those two pieces together. It's going to kind of fold and compress, which is what's important when you're working on this. Okay, so then I'm going to set that aside. I have already, kind of the magic of television, I've already assembled the base and my two layers of the plaid and the layer, and then I've attached my basic white piece, and I've gone ahead and stamped with balmy blue, the Easter's on its way, and a couple of those cute little chicks. Those I have colored in with Stampin' Blends. This is Lemon Lolly, and their little beaks are Peach Pie, which is another one of our in colors that is going to be leaving here very shortly. So then let me grab all the other parts and pieces that I told you you would need. So I'm going to kind of talk through it. I cut a strip of basic white. This is a 1/2 inch, and then it's just a teeny bit bigger, some more Shy Shamrock to layer it onto for the Happy Easter. And that's going to go on the front. I have stamped and cut out one of the little bunnies, and I've colored his inner ear here with some Petal Pink Stampin' Blend. And that will come together like so. We'll put him on the front. One of the little chicks, again, I've cut 2 more of them, and I've die cut those out. One is going to go on the front of the basket that goes on the inside, and the other one comes right here with the bunny, and I've lifted it up with a Stampin' Dimensional when I stamped it. So I kind of want to share that, but I'm not going to, I've already done them, so we're going to set those out of the way. You're also going to want, for your base, you're going to need 2 of the baskets that are cut. And I think you probably could have done these on the, with just one on the front. But you want a couple baskets. There's some little border part of the basket that goes on each of them. And then you need 3. And so this one die that came in it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these little strips that get cut out. So you'll have more than you need. And what I did is I took 3 of them. I've done 1 of them already here. I took 3 of them. I'm going to go ahead and set all of these things aside because I've got one. I kind of tried to think ahead so this video wasn't terribly lengthy. So I've got the last one I'm going to go ahead and finish. I've got 1 more piece. So what I've done is I've pulled through 2 of them. I'll pull it closer to the camera. Going in and out, and then this one's going to go opposite of those. And so I'm going to use my fingers and kind of push a little bit here. And you can also use your, take your pick tool. It kind of comes in handy. But I'm going to just kind of get where I have it coming in then the opposite way. And so then I'm going to weave it, because this is a basket. You could certainly do this without cutting or worrying about weaving the basket. I just felt it was really a neat feature and just gave it a lot of nice texture. And so I'm just going to finish it, weaving this one through. Again, I didn't think you'd probably enjoy watching me do 2 baskets, and so I've done most of it already. So I'm going to pull it through here. So like so, and then push the top and the bottom one down, and then you want this middle one to kind of just sit right in the center. And then again, you'll take some sharp scissors and just finish off, kind of trimming so that those pieces don't hang over. Okay, so when you do that, we'll get kind of those little pieces out of the way. So then you should end up with 2 baskets. And again, you're going to want that multi-purpose liquid glue. Just put a little bit along that top edge and line up your tops of your basket. Like so. Over into here. All right, and then the other things I've cut out, I've cut a couple sections of the grass. Again, that was from the die. A lot of this was using the dies, which was why I'm so sad they sold out so quickly. So those I can go ahead and attach, and what I did is I just took a line on the back side. You don't need a ton of glue, but kind of lined it up like so. And then I could put it in the kind of inside and kind of look at it from the front. And as long as the grass was coming through, then I called it a success. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to kind of hold it and line it up, because you know every Easter basket should have so that cellophane kind of grass that grew. And then what I've done, because you've got all these little flowers, I've cut 3 stems out of Shy Shamrock, and I cut 3 of the daffodils in Lemon Lolly, and they are a 2-piece, so when you cut them, you get this and the little intersection. The inner, or the little piece on the top, was one that I glued down directly. So you would glue it, kind of layer it in. It just kind of gives some nice texture again. So I layered them, kind of get it lined up right, and then I put, well, that is, I think so. And then I put just a little bit of adhesive on the top of the stem and then layered my flowers on it. So I did all of that. Again, I tried to think ahead a little bit so you didn't have to watch. You do all of that, and I've already done my flowers. And so on one of the baskets, you're going to put adhesive and you're going to line it up. And I started with one right in the middle. And then I'm going to do the other 2 right next to it. And again, you can kind of pull it to the forefront. So I'm going to kind of just force my flower on the other side just so that I can actually see all of it on the front. And then the same thing on that part of my flower, and you could come in this way. Be a little smarter, wouldn't it? So that I have a basket of flowers. You could have a basket full of eggs, because there is an egg die that cuts out all the little eggs, and you can actually do it from the designer series paper that has egg that fits one of the dies. And then I took this cute little bow, I die cut it out of the balmy blue, and I'm just going to, let me open up my basket just because I don't remember what side it's stuck on. It's over here. So I'm going to kind of put it over on the edge so that I've got a basket that's got flowers in it and the bow, and then I have a basket for the back side. Okay, so that gets us going almost completely. And remember, I told you about the chicks, so I forgot, you got to put one. I've got a couple dimensionals on the back of this one, and stick it on the front so that this little chick is sitting on the front. I'll grab it a little closer to the camera. All right, so then we're getting really, really close. So on the front of my card, I'm going to line up this strip with it says Happy Easter. Okay, just a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue. I want it to come close to the edge, but not all the way over. A little pressure there, and then I'm just going to put some multi-purpose liquid glue on the back of my rabbit here. Okay. And I'm going to offset it so that you can still read Happy Easter. I'll line that up. And this is the front of our card. Remember, on the inside, I already have the Happy Easter's on its way and the other couple little chicks down there. Then I want to use some of our Easter assortment little gems. They're already adhesive backed. Do I have this one opened? I do not. Let me grab my snips. No, not me, my snips. Yes, that way. Open it up. This is a brand new package. So I want some of the little blue dots. And so what I did is I just used my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to nab a couple of them here. Put one at the top, and then I just want a couple of them down at the lower right. Kind of just helps offset, something like so. Okay, that finishes the front of my card. But now we need to work on what goes on the inside, and so that is where this piece comes in. So I'm going to put some adhesive on actually the front of this little box. I don't want adhesive here yet. So on the fold I'm going to put a little adhesive, and that's just to hold my basket right on the front portion of it. And I sized that little box mechanism just big enough to be kind of hide behind my basket. And then I want to go ahead and attach on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and put the other basket. And by doing so, you can make sure that they line up and that one isn't bigger or taller or off, you know, out of dimension of the other one. And so you end up with your little basket. It's sitting right here. And then to attach it to my card, I'm going to put adhesive. Whoops, I just bent my flower over. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on that lower flap. I'm going to turn it over, and it's going to come, let me get my measurement here. I'd figured out that it's at about 1 3/4, or yes, at about 1 3/4 gets it pretty close to centered. And I want it just below the bottom edge of that, I'll lift it up. The bottom edge is right below the score line. Okay, so I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to leave it flat, and I'm going to do the exact same thing on this other side. And then I'll close. I'm going to close my card. Now it is a little thicker, so when you mail something like this, if you were to put this in the mail, you are going to probably need a little more postage. This really is a better card to hand out to somebody in person, but you know, when do you get something in the mail that is cute as this? So then when they open up their card, up pops their basket. Isn't that just adorable? I certainly think so. I am going to share with you, I can't open it, but Stampin' Up's new catalog is coming. It's the May to August. You notice it's not an annual catalog. They're going to a three a year catalog that aren't as thick, but they are an all-inclusive catalog that have the supplies in the back and sweets and bundles and all the things that you love about Stampin' Up. But they'll come out 3 times a year instead of just one with a couple mini catalogs. So it's a whole different shift, but there's some really exciting things in here. And so I hope that come, let me tell you, I think it is May the 5th, that you will go online and get a peek at what's in here, or sign up to be a demonstrator before then. I'd love for you to be in my team. So I'm gonna flip my camera back over. Have to get that out of the way. It just wants to sit in my face. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope to be on much more regularly, hopefully soon back to my weekly videos. And thanks for hanging with me. For those of you who have been faithful customers, I appreciate you so much. Life is getting back into a more normal groove here after a couple weeks. And so again, thank you again. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. If you haven't subscribed, I hope that you will. And for those who have subscribed and stayed with me, thank you so very much. I look forward to talking and seeing you again so very soon. Have a great day. Bye.